It was at Greenham that the show really began to take off, and the IAT started to carve a role for itself that put miles of clear blue sky between it and other air shows. It became the show that air arms the world over wanted to become involved in. In fact, so many foreign nations wanted to send their representatives that IAT flying programs began to exhibit a problem that they've had ever since: how to accept all those participants that wanted to come and still keep the program to a reasonable length. I mean, even the most ardent enthusiast tends to balk a bit at a flying display that's more than 8 hours long. And yet, how do you say no to a military attaché or a foreign chief of staff who wants to send the cream of his air force to your next show? Exciting times. Classic warbirds were always in evidence, much as they are today. Even in many cases the same actual aeroplanes as today, like this naval swordfish and the mosquito. And alongside American classics like the Duxford B-17 Fortress, the Royal Navy always put on a good show, here with the Firefly and the Sea Fury. Even this Canberra was operated by the Navy as a target tower. The 1976 IAT saw the start of a tradition. This was Hunter Meet for the Hunter's 25th birthday. Since then, there's been a theme to each IAT. Safety and good provision for emergencies has always figured high on IAT's list of priorities. And even in the 70s, the emergency services teams were drawn from a wide spectrum of different authorities. But as ever, it was NATO and the front line that drew the crowds. The F-104 starfighters from the continent and from North America were always popular, even if their less than impressive turning performance did mean that they spent quite a lot of time away in the middle distance. When they did fly by close, it was always impressive. In contrast with the F-104s, the RAF's Lightning had an extraordinary power-to-weight ratio that allowed it to do raucous, skidding power turns, almost within the airfield boundary. And this was a bit of a coup. It was an early export model two-seat trainer version of the Harrier in Middle East colours, directly from British Aerospace. But sad to say, it had engine problems and didn't fly in the display. But the Buccaneer kept on going. There were always helicopters doing exciting things, here from all three British services. The Vulcan was one of the most popular aeroplanes of all. In the 1970s, of course, it was very much still in service, but its popularity continued well after its retirement. Nowadays, in the late 90s, it's grounded, but there are still people trying to get it back flying. Then there were the single and twin jets, the Mirages and the Phantoms, which have lasted well. You can still occasionally see them today at air shows. Unlike the French Navy's Crusader, which even in the 70s was a rare beast to see. Now this was a real prize to have at your air show. Before the words Top Gun were even heard of outside the US Navy, here was the Top Gun aeroplane itself, the F-14 Tomcat. Part of a contingent of exciting US naval aircraft embarked in the aircraft carrier USS America and serendipitously able to thrill the IAT audience in 1976. And that other tradition of always having more formation aerobatic teams than any other show had even dreamed of was developing well. In 1976, IAT boasted 8 teams. Amongst them, these unusual visitors, the Austrian Silver Birds in their Saab J105Os.